All right. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Clever Girl. My name is Rachel. It's 2026, and I have not recorded one of these in probably 6 months. Yeah, it's just been not a weird year. I had a good year. 2025 was a good year. It's the start of a new year, so I'm trying this again. I also have some things that I just want to talk about. Not for any particular reason, just for funsies. And I am in my bed. I look like this. We're not going to comment on that today, actually, because I am going through a breakup. And that's a real bummer because I didn't think I would be. And it just sucks. I went on vacation to Hawaii at the beginning of the year. That was nice. It was lovely there. Of course, I mean, it's Hawaii. It was Maui. It's my first time in Maui. It's very beautiful, but we were staying on the side of the island that had been affected by the fires, and it was like so... Although the people were like super welcoming and like everyone we met was very hospitable. Like it was great hospitality there. It just was sad to see the landscape like destroyed, and it's coming back to life. It just was really sad to see it. Because the way you think about Hawaii is like very lush, very green, and most of Maui is like that. But in Lahaina, it's very much still growing back. Like you can see the damage from the top of the hill all the way to the ocean in some places. And they're rebuilding their town. So it was just an interesting experience in that way. It was very beautiful though. Weather was great and the water is so warm there. It's so nice swimming in the ocean. And I got to snorkel for this was probably the first time I went snorkeling that I actually enjoyed it. And I saw a giant sea turtle. It was so cool. I saw some beautiful coral and like really fun fish. But yeah, after that, we came back home, and a week later, my boyfriend and I broke up. So it just is what it is, you know? That it's been a few weeks now, so I'm not like still crying about it. I'm just like, it was the right thing to do. I actually think I'm just more sad to be alone again and go back to dating. Like, I really, really don't want to go back to dating. I don't want to meet a new person ever again in my life. Does anybody relate to that? Like, I don't want to sit through a month's worth of dating to get to know somebody enough to know that I want to be around them or not. Because let's be real, I haven't talked about this much in a while, but I did make a really long video about it and send it to my friends at the end of 2024. In 2024, when I met my ex, I had gone on 15 first dates. 15. And only one of them made it to a second date. There was maybe like one or two other guys I would have gone on a second date with, but things just didn't work out. Like the timing wasn't right. And like 15 first dates is actually insane. So it's not like I wasn't trying or putting myself out there. And the thought of doing that again, I was being very intentional. Like I was asking people I knew in real life, in person, I was asking them to go out on a date with me. And I was like really trying to find somebody to be with because I was very lonely. Like I've been very lonely in Santa Barbara, and I don't have many friends here. In fact, I have like one friend here. Outside of that, I just don't know anybody. So it's really hard for me to socialize. And so I was dating a lot. I was dating to find somebody to spend time with and to have a companion. And I cannot even fucking fathom doing that again. Like, I don't want to meet another new person ever again. I don't want to meet another person, another new person, and be like, how many siblings do you have? And like, do you floss every day? These are things that are important, okay? Believe me. Yeah, it just doesn't sound like a good time to me, but I'm still going through a breakup. I'm still dealing with the feelings of adjusting to being alone again, and that won't last very long because I do plan to move back to Sacramento, and in the interim between being in Santa Barbara and Sacramento, I'm going to be living with my mom, so I won't be lonely. Like, what I'm trying to do now is like savor the time that I have alone right now, because I love my mom, but it's a big adjustment going from living alone to living with your parent again. And she also watches my nephew, who's 2, like twice a week, and I work from home. So it's just going to be a lot more noise and stimulation than I'm used to, but it's okay. I'm like so excited to be closer to my friends and have more of a social life again. And not that I think like I'm going to be doing like going to events or anything every weekend. It's just like I'm really looking forward to being able to like sit on a couch and watch TV with my friends sometimes. Like, and like, or like literally go to brunch or something every once in a while and see them and spend time with them, or like go on a run or something like that. I'm really not like trying to have like a huge social life. I'm really just trying to see the homies again. Also, one of my best friends is having her first baby this year. So I'm like so excited that I get to be around for that. Yeah, I'm very excited to be moving back to Sac. It's just still a few months away. My cat is doing something weird. Bubby, come here. Come here. Why are you doing that? Okay. He was eating his own fur. Does anybody else's cat do that? Or is that like a fluffy cat thing? Because I feel like he does it all the time. And then he hairballs it up, which is gross. Anyways, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to be really honest. The dating scene in Sacramento, I think, although I was like very burnt out on it when I initially moved to Santa Barbara, now having been here for 3 years, I think it is exceptionally better than Santa Barbara. I think that I just think I'll be in a place where there are more people who are on the same level as me, you know, adjusted in their careers or living by themselves or wanting to buy a house or get married and stuff soon. And those are just like not things you find in a lot of people in Santa Barbara because the cost of living is so much higher here. So people who live alone, like me, typically are much wealthier than I am. And then people my age who are in the same like position that I'm in are living with like roommates or like, you know, have other stuff going on. Cause yeah, like it's just expensive to live here. And, you know, most people, if they want to buy a house here, like we would have to increase our income so much to be able to get there. Cause an average 2-bed condo is like $800,000 or more. An average house is like 1.2 million, and that's for like a 3-bed 2-bath 1,100 square foot house. Like oh, here they go. Oh my god, my cat started fighting and one of them stepped on my laptop and stopped the recording, which is, I'm glad I saw it, but still annoying. They always do this. I swear I say this every time. every time I start recording, they start acting insane and making a ton of noise, and like right now they're fighting. So anyways, I think that like I'll be in a better position in Sacramento to find somebody who matches my values and my lifestyle in the dating world, but I don't really intend on starting to date anytime soon. Like I don't even live there anymore. I'm certainly not going to date anymore in Santa Barbara. I was just telling my therapist this last night too. Like the thought of another man touching me just repulses me right now. Not in like an I hate men way, just in like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to talk to you. I'm gonna have to give you access to something that I don't want to. Like, no. And I just, like, I've had a lot of these thoughts since becoming single again about dating. And because I'm just like thinking about like what it used, like what I remember it being like. It's only been a year and a half maybe. Because it's 2026 now, and I was only in a relationship for 15 months. So it's not been that long, I remember. Also, I'm older. I'm 31. I'll be 32 this year. But I was thinking about dating and all the things I hate about it, actually. And one of the things that like really struck me was just some of the dates that I went on, especially here in Santa Barbara. I can't really remember any incidences like this, but I'm sure there were some. I can remember some from when I was in SAC, but this was a lot of dating in Santa Barbara. And like this is dating post COVID too. Like it's just been weird. But something that just like really I just really remember a pattern that would happen, and like you can't really recognize it as it's happening, but in hindsight it's kind of obvious what's going on. But like I remember going on dates with guys, and like again, like you're just doing this like superficial conversation stuff, trying to get to know each other, trying to get the bare basics of who this person is that you may otherwise find out if you like went to school together or had a friend in common or something like that. And it just feels like an interview. And this is the worst thing. Like you feel like you're being interviewed for this person to determine if they want to have a relationship with you. And like, I mean, I don't feel like I act that way towards people. I just feel like I'm trying to get to know them and trying to find some common ground, some common connection. And it's just like an interview. It's like, oh, so like, do you want to have kids one day? And like, it really is like that. Like, I wish that like movies and TV shows were exaggerating, but it really is like people sitting down and being like, so you're 31, so you're an attorney, so like what's it like, what was law school like it's just, I know they're trying, at least guys who ask questions are trying, I'll say that much. It does feel a bit like an interview, but that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that like initially you feel like you're being interviewed to see if this person wants to have a relationship with you. And at some point they decide, I don't think this is going to turn into a relationship, but maybe I'll still sleep with her. So then they start interviewing you to see if they can get you to sleep with them. And that is icky. So that is horrible. That's a horrible feeling to notice, and especially in hindsight, that like that there was this switch, and like this guy kind of was like, she's hot, I want to take her home. And I'm not, of course this is all speculation, I've never like had a man admit that this was something that they were thinking. It just is kind of the feeling I get from it, because questions kind of turn, like they exhaust all these questions that they might have had for someone that they could see themselves dating long term, and then they start asking more and more like provocative and inappropriate questions. And like, I've never been one to shy away from talking about sex, or, preferences or like anything like that. But the older I get, the more I realize like this is kind of just a cop out because they want to go home with me. And I'm just really not interested in having that conversation. And I'm not really I haven't been really interested in casual relationships like that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with casual relationships. It just feels bad when like I am somebody who's dating with intention and trying to find a life partner. And instead of just like cutting it off, like, hey, like this has been really nice, like just cutting the date off after like they get the feeling that like we're not compatible for a relationship, just let it go, Because what happens after they realize that they're not going to get you to sleep with them or they don't want to sleep with you is it just turns into this weird conversation of like, so how's dating been for you? Or how are the apps for you? If someone asks that question on a date, first of all, the date is over. Second of all, they are not into you. I do not care how much it seemed like they were into you. Once that conversation comes up, it's over, because what they want to talk about, this is what I imagine their train of thought was to get to that question, to get to the question of like, how have the apps been for you? This is what I imagine their train of thought is. They're thinking, man, like this girl seems nice, but I just don't think we're a match. It really sucks because I've had a lot of these. Dating's really hard on the apps. How's dating been for you on the apps? That's kind of the way that it goes, I think. Like, I don't think they mean it maliciously. And if that happens and you're saying those words, maybe just think to yourself, like, oh, I think this date is over. Even if you do say it and like you're talking about how bad or shitty or even good dating has been for you, like that date is over. You should just be like, oh, well, okay, like it was really nice to meet you. I'm gonna go now. Like, I don't know, like you don't need to be such a people pleaser, like just let the date end. I'm really not looking forward to getting back out there. I'll be real honest about it. It's just tough. It's tough. I don't want to get on the apps again. So my focus this year is really going to be on like growing my social life and my social circles, and honestly just focusing more on friendships and my social life, because I feel like it's been very neglected since living in Santa Barbara for the first 2 years because of the job that I had, and then because I was gonna say, and then the next year because of the different job that I had. But for the first 2 years, because the job I had was extremely taxing and required a lot of time investment, so I just didn't have time to socialize outside of the workplace. And then for the last year, I've worked remote, so it's just harder to meet people or talk to anybody. And I've been doing my best to try to make friends. Like, I'm part of a girls group and I go to some of the events. It's very superficial because I really only see them once or twice a year, really, maybe more than that if I go to more events, but it's just the overlap of people is not the same at every event. So it is just hard to make meaningful connections in those situations. And I just really want to cultivate my friendships again. I want to be back in a place where I can meet new people who are like-minded. I want to make new friends. I want to deepen my friendships that I already have. And I just think being in a city that is much closer to where all my friends live will be a lot easier for me. And then just in general, being in a city will make that easier because there's just so many more social events going on. For example, I don't know how this popped up on my Instagram because I didn't think I was still following this page, but there's like a Instagram page called like Sacramento Life, and they did a cross post with this other group, and it was like a tall person event. And I just was like, what a niche thing that like they just could never, Santa Barbara could never host something like that. There just are not enough people. And like, the more I think about it, the funnier it is. It's just like such an interesting niche thing. And there's stuff like that all the time in SAC. So like, I'm excited to have things like that. But for me, not a tall person to attend, and just, be in the social world again, because I feel like I've been very isolated, self-isolated. Not that I haven't been trying, but it just is isolating to live alone and work remote and not know anybody and not have any friends. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. A couple other things I wanted to talk about is just like my goals for 2026. And I did make another bingo card for this year, but I'm not going to go through everything that's on it. I think I'll talk about the main things. Like, I ended up reading, I think, 20 books in 2025, and I listened to like 7 audiobooks. So, and my goal last year, I think, was 12 books. So this year, my goal is 15 books, and I'm starting. The reason it's lower is because there's a lot of really long books that I want to read. Like right now I'm reading The Way of Kings and it's 1,200 pages. So it's just not the same as the books that I read in 2025, which averaged probably like 400 to 500 pages. So I have a lot of long books I want to read. And then I also just don't like setting goals that I don't think I can actually reach. And with everything that's going on, like moving twice, I'm going to be moving twice in 6 months. I just don't want to like overexert myself. And like after I read The Way of Kings, I have another long book that I intend to read. It's probably like 600 pages. And then I have the 2 most recent books in the Red Rising series that I want to read. And those I think are like 500 to 600 pages. They're both really long. And then Red God is supposed to come out later this year. So I'm pretty sure the author has said it's going to be like, I think he said over 1,000 pages right now. So it's just a long book year, which my page count might be higher than last year, if I'm being honest. So I have like a book reading goal. I have some travel goals. Like I didn't travel at all last year. I did not go on a like travel vacation at all. I went to Disneyland, which I don't think counts. I don't count that. And it was only for a weekend. And then I went like home a few times. And I went to like my work. Like I went to San Jose for work. So those are not really vacations. And then, I went to Hawaii at the beginning of this year, but I really want to do another big trip to somewhere new. So we'll see. But I really want to, like, that's one of my goals. What else? I would like to try to do this more often, but, it's hard. I really want to do an interview with my mom. I want to do a few, actually. And see how that goes, because I think she's really funny. But I guess like my resolutions for this year are to be more open and flexible, focus on myself, focus on my social life, try not to think about dating and relationships too much. Like I really don't. I have spent a lot of my adult life like consumed by the thought of being in a relationship or being in a relationship. And I just don't want that. I just don't want that to be my focus. I want to just like focus on cultivating other relationships in my life and just building up my community. And then the other thing that I am like, I really want, I don't know how successful I'll be, and I don't actually know how committed I am to this thought, but like, I just want to be a bitch again. I just want to let my bitch back out, because I feel like I was thinking about this the other day how like this last relationship and the relationship I was in before that years ago, which was my longest relationship, both times the relationships ended and I was not completely honest with those men about why. And like it was amicable and it was mutual and I'm grateful for that. But like, I want to be able to say what I'm thinking, and I'm like kind of tired of placating to people's feelings. And of course, I don't mean that in like a way that I want to be rude to people. It's just I need to maybe stand up for myself and speak my mind a little bit more, because I think we were in an era where it didn't really feel safe to do that. It still kind of doesn't, honestly, but I'm tired of placating anybody. Like, if someone says something out of pocket, I'm gonna be like, it's weird that you would say that. Like, it's really weird. That's a weird thought to have. Maybe keep that one to yourself, because I haven't done that. I used to be a huge bitch, and it was all for the sake of honesty. And now I'm kind of like, I keep a lot to myself. I feel very like timid, I think, especially with men. Like, I don't want men to think I'm a bitch. But now I'm like, fuck it. Fuck those men. Fuck those men, man. I'm a bitch. Whatever. You know who can handle a bitch? A man who's not a bitch. That's what I think. But anyways, yeah, just let my bitch flag fly, you know? I want to get real hot this year, which I think I'm already hot, but I've been going through some body stuff recently, so I want that to just go away, and I'm going to get hot again. And then my last goal for 2026 is I just really want to like focus on myself. I know I've said that like a dozen times, but I want to think more about myself. I want to care for myself more. I honestly just want to spend less time on my phone and looking out into the world and looking at what other people are doing. And instead, I just want to do stuff myself. Like, I want to do more and be more and just trust my gut and trust my instincts and try new things. I really want to try to get a new job where I'm not working remote anymore. I'm looking forward to a lot of change this year, although like I have struggled a lot in the past with change, but I think this will be a good time in my life for like a nice reset and settling in to what I really want my future to look like. And because I feel like what I've been living for the last few years is not how I want my future to look. Like, I don't want to work remote for the rest of my life. I don't want to work remote for the next 5 years. I don't even want to work remote for the next 1 year, but I will because it's kind of necessary right now. I also like don't want to be in a relationship that I'm not exceptionally happy in. I don't want to live in a tiny apartment anymore. I just want to move forward and take steps into like the next phase of my life. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited. So that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to kind of brain dump and just do a little catch up on my life, I guess. And as usual, we're going to end the episode with a little quiz. Can't say that I've been keeping up with like pop culture or any kind of trivia, so I'm going to do my best. The title of this quiz is, I'm sorry, but I just highly doubt anyone's scoring over 8 on this 5th grade level trivia quiz. So let's see what that has in store for us. What is the name of the pig in Charlotte's Web? His name is Wilbur. That's correct. Oh my God. 4/5 minus 2/3 equals. I feel like I need a piece of paper for this, but okay. 4/5 is 12/15 and 2/3 is 10/15. So 12/15 minus 10/15 is 2/15. That's correct. Never had to do math on a quiz. What is Newton's first law of motion? Oh, fuck. This is not 5th grade. I feel like I did not learn Newton's laws until high school science. Okay, the options are: an object's acceleration is directly proportional to the net force acting on it and inversely proportional to its mass. Second option is: for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And the third option is: any object at rest or in motion will remain at rest or in motion unless acted upon by another force. I think it's for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. No. Fuck. It was any object at rest or in motion will remain at rest or in motion unless acted upon by another force. Okay. Columbus is the capital of what state? Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana? I'm going to say Ohio. Yay. What do we call an animal with a backbone? The options are invertebrate, mammal, or vertebrate. I think it's invertebrate. Oh no, it's vertebrate. Great. Theodore Roosevelt is the, oh my God, 25th, 26th, 27th president of the United States. I'm going to be real honest. I have no idea. I'm going to say the 26th. That was correct. That was a lucky guess. What is the definition of free market in economics? The options are: an economic system based on supply and demand with little or no government control, an economic system where production and distribution is determined centrally by the government, an economic system with a single seller or producer dominating an entire industry. It is definitely the one with no government control. That is correct. Okay, what types of rocks are formed when magma cools and solidifies? The options are igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, or sedimentary rocks. I'm going to say igneous rocks. That was correct. The only one I recognized was sedimentary, but I know it's not sedimentary because sedimentary rocks are made from sediment, not magma. So that was a lucky guess. What is 8 times 7? I believe it's... Wait. 54. Yeah. No. 56? 56. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost got that wrong. 56 was correct. What do you call a word that means the opposite of another word? The options are antonym, synonym, or homophone, and it is antonym. That's correct. Okay. How many bones are in an adult human body? The options are 186, 206, or 226, and I'm pretty sure it's 206. Yes. Okay. Science. And what do you call animals that eat only plants? Options are carnivores, omnivores, or herbivores. And I think the answer is herbivores. That is correct. I got 10 out of 12. So I scored over an 8. That's pretty good, I think. It gave me a little A+ sign, which I don't think 10 out of 12 is an A+, but okay. The ones I got wrong were the Newton's law and an animal with a backbone is called a vertebrate. I should have known that. Why didn't I know that? Anyways, 10 out of 12 is pretty good. All right. Well, thank you for watching and listening. Can't tell you when I'll be back, but I'm going to try to fill you in soon, and maybe you'll actually get to meet my mom and hear some funny anecdotes from her. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe, like, follow. You can also follow me on Instagram. My personal account is Rachel Mercy. The podcast account is the Clever Girl Podcast. Thanks so much. Bye.